So did you do any other work on this, or just like that was something that you got off, from your system and moved on?
Yeah, I had hoped I could move on from that because it wasn't really my main topic, and I wasn't particularly interested in expatriate adjustment either, which is a related topic. But it still continued to bug me because nothing seemed to change, and people kept using the same old references and kept using the same claims, saying that expatriate failure rates were so high. So then I thought maybe I didn't do this right, and it was too much of a detective story. So I updated the analysis in 2001 and analyzed more references. There were about 60 at the time, and then I thought I generalized the message to talk about guidelines for good academic referencing, because that was really what the paper was about. It was about expatriate failure, but it was also mostly about referencing and what do you do when you're referencing academic work, and what do you not do, or at least should you not do. And that paper had a really unusual format, again, presenting just these 12 guidelines and then illustrating how each of these guidelines had been violated in the expatriate failure literature. And I then closed that by drawing some general conclusions about how inaccurate referencing might impact on academia, practice, and the interaction between academics and practice. But again, that was too unusual, I think, for most journals. So I sent the paper to journal after journal, and it was desk rejected again and again. And that was at a time when desk rejects were not that common as they are today. So I was getting really, really frustrated and demotivated. But I just thought I'd keep going. And then I tried Journal of Organizational Behavior, which is not really a journal that had published much on expatriation or referencing or anything, but it was a journal that had a great editor, Denise Rousseau, who I hugely admire. And she gave me a chance, and she put the paper in the review process. And then I had another stroke of luck because I got a brilliant reviewer, and the reviewer was Nancy Adler. She provided the most constructive and encouraging review that I've ever read, even to date. And she also signed her review. It wasn't a blind review. She included her name, and she said, I love this paper so much, and I want to help you polish it to make sure it's the best possible. And I don't know whether you know Nancy or have ever worked with her, but she's the most brilliant writer, and she will draft and redraft and redraft and redraft. So she helped me with that. And I even ended up writing 2 papers with her as well. So it was a really happy occasion. But she also helped me to get that message about how, if we're not doing our job as academics well, it might make it really hard for practitioners to trust academic research. So I think that was a really key contribution, because as academics, we're not paying enough attention to practice and how our research is used in practice. And when Geert Hofstede, and most people know him better as Geert Hofstede, I actually was his student assistant way back in the 1980s. So I sent him my article, and he talked about it at a conference, and he said something that I want to read out because I thought it was brilliant. He said, practitioners who work with multinationals may have noticed that multinational HR managers aren't imbeciles. Does anyone really think that multinationals would have continued to expatriate managers if they kept getting failure rates of 20 to 50%? And that's it. Why didn't anyone ever think, like, is this for real? If this happens, won't HR managers do anything? So I think that's a really great observation. And I think if anyone had talked to a HR practitioner at the time, rather than stay in their ivory towers, I don't think we would have had that myth. And I don't think we would have had the myths that we have in other areas. of
Absolutely.
IB or research either. So I think that was another nice general message coming out of the paper.
Absolutely, such important work, and kind of I love the team that made this paper, the second one, get published in Journal of Organizational Behavior. So thanks for sharing that story.